Beware your human heart. This is Diabolical Index coming to you live from the Nut House in parts unknown. But this is where the pages of the uncanny reside. I'm Corey Dawson, as always. It is April 7th, 2018, if you have forgotten. And it is me back again after yet another pause, another short hiatus, a hiccup in my normal schedule. Because I've had a bevy of different sicknesses and threats upon my life, microbially and microscopically and beyond the reach of man. I have no idea what it is. It's different every day. Not even sure. But I am back now, at least, and hopefully in the foreseeable future we'll be back at Paradox City Books and Games live as we normally are. It's not to say that the Nut House lacks ambiance or anything like that. It's just I think that if you're a steady viewer of the Magic Scroll Network, you can see different Easter eggs from other shows behind me and all around me. So and relics like my laptop, which is actually being employed tonight to help out as some of the technology is currently being enhanced and updated for your viewing pleasure. But anyway, for just a little bit of your information, just wanted to let you know that the inverted Indiegogo has ended, and the folks over at Deranged Minds Entertainment have gotten almost their goal. I think that they're prepared for principal photography, and they're going to put out another campaign for the rest of it. But there's been an overwhelming flood of support for Inverted, their new feature following Red Eye, which totally blew everybody away at all sorts of festivals, including the Midwest Horror Fest of last year. So Destiny and Tristan are definitely breaking new ground, so check them out. Deranged Minds Entertainment, you can probably go to Inverted, I think it's called like areyouinverted.com, and check out everything that's going into play for that movie. But I want to put that out there. And also, if I'm correct, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think that principal filming has ended on 605's next feature, the second feature from Brandon Pruitt, Cinematic Reality. Is that true? Is that right? Okay.
It is done.
Yeah, so principal photography done on Cinematic Reality. There's a lot more work to be done, though. There's a lot of bits and pieces that go into the making of a film with the scope and grandeur of his second feature. So there's a lot to be done there. So keep your eyes peeled on Studio 605 and amongst the different little cadres, however you say that. I think it's cadre. I prefer a cadre of young, hungry, evil, cunning filmmakers that come from Ohio County and beyond. Check them out. They're doing the things that need to be done when the things need to be done, and those things. This is a non-entry episode. I feel free to let myself go, as you can tell. As you can tell, I have let myself go. But there are many exciting births and deaths in literary history to be spoken of tonight. The first one that I had on the docket is Richard Adams, the author of the famous and somewhat infamous Watership Down, one of very many holiday favorites that people normally don't turn on in front of their children because it shows the horror and the violence of nature, and it also goes into the pain and the plenty of just society in general, except viewed through the somewhat microcosm of a rabbit warren. A lot of people will say that it's a little bit too violent for children, and I tend to disagree because. Right. So this reminds me of what was that? The second episode?
Yeah.
Where I was like, hey, what's going? Oh, we're live. What's up? What are you doing now? Oh, I see. You know, I was worried about eating my sandwich. I'm not... Or, can you even hear me? You can't hear me.
They can't hear you on that. Yeah, you can move that away.
Okay.
God.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
There you go.
Lord, please have mercy. Okay. So, this is like massive close-up.
Yeah, it's just on you, man. That's all I got.
Okay. All we got. All right. So, I was talking about the work of L. Frank Baum, but I think the last thing I talked about was I ended up finding the most fantastic thing when it comes to reading to a child. I found a one-book compilation of all of the Oz books. Was in one book, but it was just the script. There was no illustrations, which was kind of disappointing. But if you can have all the Oz books in one book, I mean, that's as good as you get. Especially if you do the voices and stuff, like I always do with everything when it comes to that. So L. Frank Baum, born in April of some year. I have no idea when. But maybe I should start putting in years for these things, because it makes it sound like he was born last week. But hopefully everyone knows the difference, especially with the age of the movie and stuff. And by the way, that Munchkin did not hang himself. That was a big hoax. That was some kind of crane that's in the background there. And it's one of the famous movie hoaxes that everybody thinks is crazy, supernatural, murder type things. So those are the births in April. And the deaths are just as prestigious, actually. Or maybe it was Machiavelli. Was that one of the births? I think it was one of the deaths.
I will tell you in just 5 seconds.
Yeah, all of our tech is limited.
Yeah, you have Machiavelli in here.
As death? Was Machiavellian as death
look at your,
or born?
Look at your thing.
Well, look at my thing. Everybody's looking at my thing right now. You can probably see every pore on my face through this thing.
It's pretty close.
Every booger in my nose is just visible for the world to see. Yeah, whatever the this latest creeping crud
Machiavelli
is.
died.
Okay, good. Okay.
And then Elbon or Frank Burnham.
No, that's I already got those, so I know what the rest of them are. So Niccolo Machiavelli, the writer of The Prince, one of the most infamous, famous, useful tracts on political science and just sheer animal cunning that's ever existed in the history of man. It seems like every politician has employed Machiavellian techniques at one point or another. And it's just one of those things, people hear Machiavellian all the time. Despite the alter ego of Tupac Shakur, but it's the, when someone does something Machiavellian. Batman has actually been described as Machiavellian from time to time because it's the shrewdest, most ruthless end and mean that you could possibly have. It's just cutthroat politics at its finest, and as far as I know, it was written either during the Renaissance or directly before it. So it's been around for a long time, and nothing has changed. It still serves as a treatise for how to cut your enemies down and how to keep them closer than your friends. So definitely check out The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. He died in April. And on the complete other end of the spectrum, we have the author of The Light in the Attic, Where the Sidewalk Ends, The Giving Tree, and so many other wonderful books. Shel Silverstein, one of, in my opinion, one of the most intimidating looking children's book writers of all time. They would always put his picture in black and white on the back of these large hardback books that the children would get from the library and stuff, and he just looked mean as a snake. I don't know why they picked, maybe that was his relaxed face, whatever it was, but he was bald, but he had this big burly beard and these penetrating eyes and gigantic eyebrows. Maybe I looked at his picture too long. I don't know, because I have the eyebrows to spare. But when you look back over his work, nothing has changed. The power is still there. It's totally funny. Just the virtuosity of his rhyming. I mean, since Seuss, I think it's pretty much Dr. Seuss and then Shel Silverstein when it comes to that type of thing. I mean, Edward Gorey is way up in the stratosphere over there somewhere. You have to put him in there. But that's when the children are a little more grown up. But I mean, I plan on having Lucy read Edward Gorey, but that's just me. It's a little darker in tone, but make no mistake. I mean, just like with Seuss in a couple of different ways, Shel Silverstein kind of raised the bar when it came to that, where it showed kind of like the risks and the rewards and the pitfalls of selfishness in a lot of ways, and just the absurdity of life was contained in all those, especially when you consider the fantastic illustrations. If they were to release Shel Silverstein without his illustrations, to me it would almost be like Roald Dahl without Quentin Blake, his famous illustrator. And I don't know, I guess Poe without I can't remember that guy's name now. I'll remember it in a minute. But there are different illustrators that bring out. Well, for James, I guess I could say if Mike Mignola wasn't doing Hellboy, then it would fall apart. But that's gonna bug me now. I can't remember that Poe guy's name. But anyways, Shel Silverstein changed everyone's lives. In fact, he did a few adult things that were kind of surprising too. He was the writer of A Boy Named Sue, which is really interesting to think about. But not, I mean, it almost makes perfect sense when you think about the lyrics to that song. It had to have been Shel. So I don't recommend listening to him sing it, though. It's terrifying. He had for being a big man and an intimidating looking man, he had a real shrill, high voice, and it's unsettling listening to him sing A Boy Named Sue on the Johnny Cash Show. So Shel Silverstein died in April, and it was a great loss. But I mean, it happens to everyone, almost everyone. I plan on outrunning that. But and the last death is one of the great fathers of modern science fiction, and I was glad to see that I have been pronouncing his name right all these years. Robert Heinlein. He wrote Starship Troopers and Space Cadet, and there are just too many to name. Stranger in a Strange Land, Number of the Beast. There are so many, and they go throughout different eras, and for as much sameness as they have just as much difference. And just a little I've read, I have friends, Jennifer, for example, she tells me that it's his later stuff was almost, if it didn't have the intelligence that it had, and didn't have the wide scope and the far-flung science fiction, it would almost be considered lewd. There's such a element of sensuality and sexuality, as well as these grandiose ideas of where we were going and how they related to where we'd been. So it's definitely one that I've wanted to check out for years, and The Cat Who Walked Through Walls was one of the ones I really wanted to tackle. But there's just such a large catalog. Where do you begin? Where do you end? It's difficult to tell, especially since he had a very subdued period in the 50s, probably under the yoke of censorship and stuff like that. So it makes you wonder. Like I've asked people, I have a confession to make. I've never watched Doctor Who, and I know that I'm missing out. A lot of people would want my head on a pike because I haven't checked out Doctor Who, but the question I've always posed to any of them is, where do you begin? Because there are some people that tell me to go all the way back to the beginning and be a completist and watch it all up until now. And that's the way I would prefer to do it, but I've been told that, the older Who stuff, it doesn't even though there are shared places, people, characters, and events, I've heard that they can't even compare. Like you can't relate the two halves. They almost act like Christopher Eggleston, I don't even know what number Doctor he was. I'm sure everyone, there's going to be all kinds of comments from everybody, but I've heard that you start from him and go forward to now if you really want an in-depth view of Doctor Who. But I don't know. But like I say, sometimes it's difficult to get everything in. So I don't want to go in half-cocked. I kind of like to have a good beginning. So where to start with Heinlein, not sure. Which is why there's kind of like this it's not necessarily a stagnancy. As you can imagine, my to-be-read pile is massive. It takes up an entire apartment and part of the shop. So it's, it's massive. It's going to take my whole life. Someone once told me that I was on this quest for immortality where I wouldn't die until I read all the books that I had. And if that's the case, I'm going to be on this damn earth until it's sucked down to a gobstopper nodule. I don't even know. So anyway, Robert Heinlein died in April. So those are the births and deaths in literary history. Pretty lengthy, but I guess it was cut in half by technical difficulties. Who knows? So the important part of tonight. What time is it, anyways?
It is 10:11.
10:11. So man, we've already been out. Well, what time did we begin? Like 9:45.
9:35.
Okay, that's all right. Okay, that's good. All right. There's going to be a lot of talking throughout this whole thing. I will be, I will be referring to Andrew. I will be asking him stuff because we're on a very limited basis here. We don't have a whole lot of anything.
There's not a lot of pizzazz tonight.
There's not a lot of pizzazz, but hey, what's the greatest special effect of this show? I'm the greatest special effect of this show. So I'm here, and I'm about as close as you could possibly be to me. So anyway, Dungeons and Dragons. How am I looking?
You're good. You can come closer if you want.
Okay. Dungeons and Dragons, Endless Quest, number something. I can't see. Doesn't say. 8502. Mountain of Mirrors. With this fantastic looking guy right here. And, I thought that he would have a little bit of a better name, but I can read this. It just sounds like some little kid at Sunday school. You are Landon, a brave elf on your first mission into the land of frost giants and ogres. Turn the pages of this endless quest book for many new and exciting adventures. When it comes for action, you decide. Will you use your magic sword to fight the monsters that guard the secrets of the mountain? Or will you try to rescue the prisoners who must mine the mountain or die? Or will you run into the unknown, down in the mist-shrouded staircase? The thrills and challenges don't stop with the first reading. You can ask yourself, what if I had done it a different way? And then we can go back and do it that way. Will you destroy the evil that lives in the Mountain of Mirrors? I don't know. Mountain of Mirrors, monsters, magic, mystery. I'm not going to read that part. That gives away one of the scenes. Will your quest end happily, or will you end up as the monster's slave inside the Mountain of Mirrors? You must pick your own path to adventure. Thank you to the Bookshelf, 101 North Walnut Street in Batesville, Indiana. Something that I plan on going there and doing a little bit of a thing. I'm planning on doing a sideshow one of these times. This is definitely a sideshow when I'm doing around. But what I'm saying, a side show that has to do with little-known bookstores. So keep your ears and your eyes open for that. I don't know when I'll be able to begin. But I've got an illustration here. I'm not sure. Maybe this is Landon. But there's a little elf going on here. Up. Good. Okay. I don't know. That looks more like a Landon than this other guy. So that other guy might be a frost giant, I guess. But Mountain of Mirrors by Rose Estes. The Mountain of Mirrors is an endless quest adventure book. Between the covers of this book, you will find many paths to adventure. There are many possible choices in this book. Some simple, some sensible, some foolhardy, and some dangerous. Pretty much the description of my life. All the choices are up to you. I will not be choosing. You will make all of the choices. Remember that you are the adventure. If you make an unwise choice, go back to the beginning and start again. There are no right or wrong choices. Only many different choices to pick from. Good adventuring and good luck. Okay, this was written in 1982. So, how much older than this? No, it's not older than me. I'm older than this, but I bet it's
at least
it's a little bit older than Andrew
4
Moore.
years.
4 years older than you? Oh my God. Okay. And now we begin. I'll try to get into the meat of this thing here. In the Mountains of Mirrors, you are an elf named Landon. You are 5 feet 5 inches tall. Andrew, you're about Andrew Moore. Although slender, well, that's not me. I know that. Although slender, you are very strong and quick on your feet. You are 270 years old. Since elves live to be about 1,200 years old, you're still in your early teens, in human years. Your hair is dark chestnut brown and hangs straight to your shoulders. I'm almost there. I'm working on this nice mullet I got going in the back here. It's crazy. Your eyes are emerald green. Like all elves, you have elven sight, allowing you to see objects in the dark by the heat they give off. I didn't know about this elven sight stuff. You speak a number of languages, including those of orcs, goblins, ogres, and halflings, as well as the common language of humans. Although you are young and untried as a warrior, you have trained long and hard and are skillful with both sword and dagger. Your adventure begins in the cold, clear dawn of a late autumn morning in your village of Aurelia. Morik, the chief elder of the village, has asked his people to gather in the great hall for an important meeting. Speaking in a low but commanding voice, Morik addresses his people. For 3 months now, no caravans have reached our village. Supplies are running very low. Someone or something has completely cut Aurelia off from the land beyond the mountains. We have sent parties of elven warriors to discover what is wrong, but none have returned. Soon the great snows will come, and our village will perish without supplies. If we are to survive, someone must pave the way to the land beyond the mountains so that the caravans can get through. The Council of Elders has met all night in secret session and decided to choose by lot one elf from the village to try to open the way to the land beyond the mountains. The name drawn in a lottery is that of Landon. Though as yet untried as a warrior, the elders feel that Landon's goodness of heart and strength of purpose are more valuable than fighting experience. Landon, step forward. Everybody step forward. You're Landon, not me. And ignoring the grumbling from the older warriors, you step forward and say proudly what? What do you say? I'll tell you what it says you say. Morik, I accept this mission. Please know that I will do my best. Morik continues, Landon, for your mission, the council will supply you with a mountain mule and a portion of our dwindling supplies. We are also entrusting you with our greatest treasure, the fabled Sword of the Magus. This sword has many special qualities. It cannot be broken no matter how hard it is struck. At your command, it will throw a clear, golden light over a 10-foot area. The Sword of the Magus will hum in the presence of enemies. If you are defeated or slain, the sword will lose its powers. Oh. It cannot be used by anyone who is not pure in heart. Prepare yourself, Landon. You leave within the hour. The hour speeds by quickly as you change from your everyday clothes into a gray suede shirt and pants, and a gray hooded cloak lined with silver fur. You put a tiny bone-handled knife into the secret pocket inside your shirt. It does not sound comfortable. You lace your tall black leather boots to your knees and begin filling your backpack with supplies. You load it with an axe, a rope, an oil flask, some herbal medicine, a drinking horn, a tinderbox, and torches. Strapping a silver dagger to your belt and slinging a bow and quiver of arrows over your shoulder, you prepare to leave. Following a narrow, rocky trail, you leave your beloved village behind, sped on your way by the blessings of family and friends. Eventually, Aurelia becomes lost in the distance. As you climb out of your valley home, rocky peaks tower above you. Snow covers most of the peaks, but a few wear crowns of gray, ancient rock. One peak stands out above the rest. From time out of mind, your people has called it Shinafria, the Mountain of Mirrors. Snow covers Shinafria on all sides, and its upper third is shrouded in a sheet of solid ice. When the sun shines, the mountain sparkles like a cold, perfect diamond. There's Landon leaving Analia, something I can't remember already. Oh, Shinafria is the mountain place. The other place was, I think it was Analia. I have to remember now. Aurelia. As you approach Shinafria, Dark clouds blot out the sun, and a chill-piercing wind rises. The path climbs steeply into the roof of the clouds. Several times, your mule pulls forward on its back on its reins, reluctant to move forward. You sigh in sympathy. If there was another trail, you would surely take it. Mule, you say finally. You didn't even name the thing. Maybe you thought he had to eat it.
Just call him Mule.
He just called him Mule. That's a... Okay, so the mountain's named Shinafri and your mule's named Mule. Thanks a lot, Landon. Mule, you say finally. Sometimes there's no choice and you have to do things you don't like, so stop fussing and move. The mule bites a gigantic hunk out of your arm. I'm making it up. Sorry. I don't like this cruelty to animals. You need to name that thing. Tucking your head down against the wind, you continue trudging up the mountainside, pulling the stubborn mule behind you. The afternoon passes quickly, and soon the day grows gray with the coming of night. The idea of spending the night alone on the mountain frightens you, but you have no other choice. Now he's not even thinking of the mule as company. The heck? I think he's going to pay for that. Just ahead, you spot a sheltered hollow off the trail. If you hurry, you can make your camp there while there's still light. You reach the hollow just before sunset. You set up your camp and feed the mule. Man! Then you set about cooking your own dinner. After eating, you snuggle down to the warmest furs and prepare to sleep. You are so tired that your eyes close almost instantly. A faint cry reaches your ears. Wide awake, you listen but hear nothing more. You decide it must have been the cry of a night bird. Settling down, you try once more to get some sleep. Excuse me. Getting there? That must be the camp. Excuse me for a second. I'm in trouble. Again, the cry echoes through the valley, louder now. Alert, you sit up and wait for the next cry. You are sure now that it was definitely a voice you heard. The voice was someone in trouble. The cries seemed to be coming from the trail. Drawing your sword and slinging your bow and arrows over your shoulder, you creep quietly toward the trail. You see nothing in the direction from which you came. Help! Help! The short but distant cry comes from behind you. Whirling around, you see 3 elves sprinting full speed down the trail, pursued by 4 ogres. The ogres are 9 feet tall, with greenish-brown skin, snaggly yellow teeth, and sharp black claws. Each carries a pair of spears. Seeing the elves' danger, you start to wade through the heavy snow towards the battle. Close to the edge of exhaustion, the elves stumble more than they run. As you watch, one elf slips on an icy patch and falls to the ground, his weapons clattering away. His companions stop, uncertain, and tug his arm and urge him to rise. But he does not move. The elves glance back at the ogres who are gaining on them. Finally, they race on, leaving their fallen friend behind. One of the ogres picks up the fallen elf by 1 foot. Struggling weakly, the elf dangles upside down. He pulls out his short sword and strikes desperately at the monster. The ogre only laughs and tosses the elf over the cliff that borders the trail. Oh my god. The elf disappears, falling hundreds of feet to the valley floor below. Still wading through the snow, you glimpse the remaining elves struggle between themselves. The larger elf is weaponless and holds the other by both arms. With a sudden wrench, the smaller elf I thought I was going to say it ripped his arms off. The smaller elf pulls away and rushes back towards the ogres. The ogres stand at the edge of the cliff, laughing about the elf's death. They are surprised and unprepared for the attack. Sword swinging, the elf is upon them before they realize it. He strikes first at the ogre who killed his friend, breaking his sword off at the hilt. The dying ogre tries to speak, but crumbles to the ground, with broken blade lodged in his body. The elf draws his dagger and flings himself at another ogre. He stabs 3 times before his new foe can draw his own sword and attack. The other ogres crowd forward to join the fight, but there is no room on the narrow trail for only one of them. The elf stays out of range of the wounded ogre's sword and is unable to move close enough to strike the fatal blow. Suddenly, out of nowhere, something flies through the air and strikes the ogre on the forehead. The weaponless elf has thrown a snowball off his face. I don't even know. The weaponless elf has thrown a snowball to distract the ogre. As he continues to bombard his enemy, the surprised ogre throws his arms up to protect itself. While the snowballs cannot harm the ogre, they do confuse it. The first elf seizes his opportunity and leaps forward, plunging his dagger into the ogre's stomach. Before the body hits the ground, the elf turns and races down the trail. Screams of rage echo through the valley as the 2 remaining ogres rush after the elf. The first ogre grabs a spear. Taking careful aim, it lets the spear fly through the air with deadly accuracy. The spear strikes the elf, sending him sprawling on the icy trail. He struggles to rise, but cannot. With a cry of rage, the weaponless elf charges the enemy. The ogre throws his second spear as it runs. Here is the snowball gambit, trying to distract the ogres from their. Ooh, those are pretty rough looking too.
Joshua just came in with the laptop and everything.
Okay, we got more technology coming.
But I told him it probably wouldn't be worth redoing it all again.
Yeah. The injured elf raises his head wearily and sees the spear flying towards his companion. With a valiant surge of strength, he flings himself between them. Both elves fall heavily to the trail. The weaponless elf struggles to his knees unharmed, but the other elf lies and crumpled in the snow with 2 spears lodged in his body. Almas! Almas! Sobs the weaponless elf. The ogres roar with laughter at his cries. At the sound of their laughter, the grieving elf leaps to his feet and rushes towards them. So you want some of the same, little guy? Come on, coming, Elfie. This spear is for you, growls one of the ogres, waving a spear. The ogre's words stop the elf. He stands hesitantly on the trail with no weapons to defend himself. What's the matter, chicken? I'll come to you, roars the ogre, starting forward. Quick, elf, this way, you yell. You're still too far away to help him, but are getting closer each second. If you can just reach him, his chances of escape will be better. The elf hears your words and sprints down the trail towards you. Both ogres shriek in anger when they spot you. Quickly you ready your bow and draw an arrow from your quiver. The elf narrows the gap between you, and the ogres are almost within range of your bow. At this distance, a bow and arrow is a better weapon than a sword anyway. If you can keep the ogres at a distance, both you and the elf may yet survive this encounter. Heart pounding, you force yourself to wait until the ogres are within range. Then carefully you draw back the bowstring and let the arrows fly. They leap from your bow in deadly arc, whizzing through the frigid air towards the ogres. The first arrow slams into an ogre. It stumbles, then continues to lurch forward. Then zock, zock, zock! The remaining arrows stud into his body. The ogre stops, takes a faltering step, then staggers and falls. The last ogre kneels by the bloody form of his companion, grabs a fallen spear, and rises. Before you can get another volley of arrows off, the ogre draws back the spear and throws it with tremendous force. Then, with one final growl, it turns and races back up the trail. You hear a low moan of pain. The spear has found its mark. The elf has been hit. Hurrying up the trail, you kneel at the side of the wounded elf and examine him. The spear has passed through his chest just below his right shoulder. With a shock, you recognize him as Halleck, an elven warrior from your village, who left with the last party that tried to cross the mountains. Halleck tries to speak, but no words come. He collapses on the snow. Frantically, you tear aside his clothing and listen at his chest. Dimly, you hear a ragged heartbeat. He still lives. Working fast, you cut his shirt away from the wound and gently remove the spear. Binding the awful wound with pieces of his shirt, you carry the elf to your camp. Gathering what little wood you can find, you build a fire and wrap the elf in blankets. Then you settle down to keep watch over Halleck throughout the long night. Around dawn, Halleck stirs and mumbles, I killed him. You certainly did. I never saw such a good shot with a snowball, you reply. No, I don't mean the ogre. I mean Olmus. He was my brother. I killed him. If he hadn't tried to save me, he'd be alive now. Tears trickle from the corners of Halleck's gray eyes. He made the choice, you say in tear-choked voice. You must not dwell on his death. Olmus would not want you to grieve so. Halleck turns his head, closes his eyes, and is silent. Tears continue to trickle down his pale cheeks. You reach for the horn of herbal medicine simmering at the edge of the fire. Turning back to Halleck, you see that he's lapsed into unconsciousness. All day the elf wanders in and out of consciousness, delirious and feverish. You bathe him with icy stream water, but the fever does not break. You keep trying to get Halleck to drink some of the healing herbal brew, but his restlessness only allows a little of the liquid to drip down his throat. The wound, the fever, and his grief over his brother's death are more than he can bear. At nightfall, Halleck awakens, his gray eyes large and clear. His fever has faded. You reach for the medicine. No, says Halleck in a faint voice. There is no need. The pain has left me, and I shall soon be with my brother. I can ask for no more. He fumbles for your hand. You take it and feel his pulse fluttering like a trapped bird. Please tell the elders we tried, but there was just too many of them for us. Too many of what, you ask? Orcs, goblins, ogres, and even a frost giant, whispers Halleck. I always knew there was something evil in Shinafria. Evil? What evil? Please tell me what to expect. In a dying voice, Halleck gasps. Ice caves, mines, monsters, prisoners, death. His pulse flickers for a brief moment, then is still. He stares at you with empty eyes, a small smile on his lips. What's up with that? Is he like...
That's mischievous.
Is that some like spite happening? Is like you're about to fall into the shit here. With a deep sigh of sadness, you prepare to bury Halleck. Throughout the long night, you gather rocks. Slowly, you build a rock tomb. Finally, I know what to call that thing. You constantly see it in movies, and you never know what to call that thing. It's a rock tomb. Remember that. At daybreak, you lay the last rock with bruised and aching hands. Halleck is now at peace, and you must go on. I'm thinking there's probably a decision coming up soon, hopefully.
He's a sadist.
I don't want to show you the illustration yet because it might have something to do with what I'm about to read. Let me take a drink first. I am going to have no voice tomorrow.
All the voices you have to...
You have difficulty forcing the mule around the frozen body of the ogre. I mean, with all the reading, this is definitely going to be better than that last one, the scene of the crime. I mean, that wasn't the last one, but the scene of the crime, anything is better than that, except for the drive-by shooting.
So the drive-by was the best.
That was the best part of that whole thing, which is terrifying. That was the best part. You have difficulty forcing the mule around the frozen body of the ogre. With a bray of protest, it finally leaps forward. Prancing wildly, it dashes up the trail ahead of you. You run to catch it. The mule has already rounded the boulder ahead of you. Suddenly, it gives a terrified bray. Stupid mule. Trusted to make a noise like that when we need to be quiet, you mutter to yourself. You round the boulder, and all thoughts of silence leave your mind. You want to cry out in terror yourself. Directly ahead of you, the trail doubles back on itself like a giant sea. You stand on one side of the trail next to the braying mule. On your left is the mountain wall. On your right, empty air. 40 feet across the chasm is the other side of the trail. Carved into the mountain wall is a cave, with an opening framed in ice and snow, and sitting at the opening of the cave is an enormous frost giant and a young white dragon. As pictured here. Look, Fang, booms the frost giant, his icy blue skin glinting in the sunlight. We've got company. Come on, where are your manners? Greet our guests. Fang, not the most creative name of all time. The white dragon draws its scaly lips back over long, sharp teeth and almost seems to smile. Then it opens its mouth and belches a cone of white frost that rolls across the chasm. The frost falls far short of you. If I've told you once, I've told you 100 times. You have to practice. You missed an easy shot. Try again. The giant seems to think you and the mule are nothing but toys for Fang's target practice. That makes you angry. While the giant continues to lecture the dragon, you grab your bow and 3 of your remaining arrows and take aim. Zip, zip, zip. The arrows fly across the chasm and bounce off the giant's armor. You dope. Go for the eyeballs. Even though your shots are well placed, they have no effect. Surprisingly, the giant laughs again. You can't hurt us. You and Fang would make a good team. Tweedledum and Tweedledummer! The dragon rumbles and roars. Don't like arrows, Fang? We'll blast them again. You're 50 years old. You should be doing better. At the rate you're going, you'll be 100 before you amount to a hill of snowballs. Now take careful aim and blast, cautions the giant. You grab another arrow. Drawing the bow, you aim and let the arrow fly at the dragon. Yay! Screeches Fang as the arrow strikes its rump. It rolls over on its back and digging the arrow deeper into its flesh. Ooh! And making the pain worse. Yip, 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 it shrills again. Don't just lay there screaming, says the giant. Do something! Are you going to let an elf do that to you? As if in answer, Fang blasts forth a great frost cone with a huge roar of anger and pain. Fortunately, the frost cone strikes the snow and ice hanging above the cave. The roar echoes and bounces off the narrow-walled trail where you and the mule stand. As the echoes of the roar fade, you hear another noise. Softly, at first merely a murmur, it grows louder and louder. Soon it sounds like 1,000 dragons roaring. Both you and the giant look upward to see an incredible sight. It looks like the entire mountain is falling. An avalanche! Powdery snow followed by tumbling straight down the mountain towards you. Fang, you stupid idiot! Look what you've done! Bellows the giant. You set off an avalanche! Get off your scaly bottom and stop screaming! Quick, get back in the tunnel! Fang and the giant are luckier than you. They have shelter. Nothing stands between you and a thundering wall of snow. You press close to the side of the mountain. Grabbing the mule's reins, you back up the trail the way you came. The mule is quick to follow, almost running over you in his eagerness to escape. That's what you get, buddy. You race around the corner just as tons of snow, ice, and rocks crash down behind you on the trail. The thundering, rumbling, and roaring go on for long minutes. The mountain and the trail beneath your feet tremble. When the awful noise finally stops, you look around. The trail is gone. The cave is gone, buried deep within the mass of ice and snow. The chasm between the two trails is now filled with snow. If you are to continue, you must dig out the snow-filled trail. It will be difficult and dangerous. One false step, and you could plunge from the mountainside to your death. So finally, the decision.
James says the giant voice sounds like Skeletor.
He wants me to do it. I don't know. If I do that, I might waste my voice for the entire trip.
Alright, hang on 1 second. Tell them I'm going to plug in the phone real quick.
He's going to plug in the phone real quick. And now you're going to see the GURPS. Something. But they can probably still hear me, right?
Oh yeah, they can hear you.
Okay. If you want to... sorry. If you want to turn around, go home, ask for help, turn to page 38. If you want to try to dig out the trail and deal with it, turn to page 119. I have to say, but I guess it has to be done. So, what do you guys want to do? You want to go home and with your tail between your legs and ask for help from your elves and tell them what happened to the gallant elves on the mountain in Shinifria or whatever it was? I can't remember already. Keep forgetting all these names. Shinafria. I was close. A lot closer that time. So, do you want to go home and get your friends to help you dig out the thing? Or do you want to do it yourself and go on with your mission? Your choice. Make your choice.
Say it again real quick.
It again real quick.
The choices.
Oh, the choices. Oh. Gotta be more specific, buddy. If you want to turn around and go home and ask for help, easily the most boring choice, go to page 38. But it might save you a lot of heartache. If you want to try to dig out the trail and continue on with your mission, turn to page 119. It seems to me, personally, that if what this says is true, and the chasm is filled by ice and rock and snow, it seems to me you ought to be able to just walk across the thing to the other side of the trail. That's the way I'm seeing it. Is anyone else seeing it that way?
We have do it yourself, dig that mofo.
The mofos of Shinafria. That's the next chapter. I do thank you mofos for hanging with us tonight. Out of all this total craziness, this is probably the most trouble we've ever had with my show.
Yeah. I think of any show. Because...
Figures. That's what I get. But hey, I'm still coming in, even though my voice is all raspy. I honestly don't know if I'll have a voice tomorrow, but who cares? As long as I have a voice for you guys, if you're tuning in, because everybody's been real busy this month with endeavors and stuff, and I don't think that we've been around for you quite as much. So appreciate you coming down to the Nut House for the. Some would say limited ambiance. I disagree. I mean, there are things. Although, I mean, it seems like I'm taking up the whole damn screen anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Any ambiance is wasted by my gigantic head. So, are there any choices?
I'm going to go with do it yourself as well. I think James went do it yourself.
But see, it almost makes me wonder. You remember how, like, not necessarily the easy way, but, like, the way of all flesh. It always seems like the way that you think you ought to do. Sometimes it gets you in trouble doing it that way.
Yeah.
You know? Like sometimes the easy way doesn't. But then again, sometimes the writers make it so that if you try to go against the grain, then you have to do.
You go on vacation.
You go on vacation. I need to find those books, man. They're buried or something.
Yeah, I'm going to say we were going to go with do it yourself.
Okay, so that sounds like pretty unanimous. So we're going to page 119. You look around the tons of snow and ice. The way ahead will be difficult. If you turn back, you'll probably lose the last chance your village has for survival. Already, flakes of the first winter storm are swirling in the cold air. You make your decision quickly. You will not turn back. You've given your word to do your best, and you will succeed or die trying. Tying the mule to a huge chunk of ice, you set to work. Afterward, you can't remember how long it took to clear the trail. Your memory is clouded by the pain of bleeding hands, frozen fingers, and snow-blind eyes. But at last the job is done. Thank God it doesn't do it like that damn scene of the crime. It would have been like 5 pages of him digging. But at last the job is done. The trail is clear. You collapse against the shaggy warmth of the mule and fall into an exhausted sleep. At last, you awaken stiff and aching. Rising painfully to your feet, you pull the sleepy, snow-covered mule onto the narrow trail. It twitches and trembles, but follows you nervously along the icy path. The path is narrow and dangerous. The mountain rises steeply to one side, covered in ice and snow. On the other side is the sheer edge of the mountain. At its base, thousands of feet below, are sharp teeth of rock, loosely buried in masses of snow and ice brought down by your avalanche. You edge your way past the snow-covered frost giant's cave, catching the scent of the dragon, your mule's nostrils flare. Easy, boy, I don't like it either. Don't worry, the dragon can't get us now. The mule flattens his ears against its head, but continues to plod through the snow and ice past the cave. The wind increases. Ice and snow blow against you with tremendous force, making it difficult to see and keep your balance. It's almost impossible to push forward. Suddenly, the mule rears and begins to scream, jerking hard against the rope. You slip on the icy trail and can no longer control the frightened mule. Screaming wildly, the mule rips the rope from your hands and rushes into the storm. Within seconds, it is lost from sight in the blowing snow. You are alone on the mountain. You place your hand on the hilt of the sword of the Magus. It's got all kinds of runes and shit on there. As though in answer to your touch, the sword begins to hum. Camptown races. It's weird. It's not very regal. You wonder where the danger could come from in this lonely place. You draw your sword and peer into the driving storm, trying to find your enemy. A figure stumbles toward you out of the whiteness. It's an orc. Its greenish-brown skin is covered with snow. You wonder why it's wandering around outside. Orcs hate the light and usually live underground. You don't have long to wonder. The orc is attacking! There's suddenly a lull in the storm, and a bright ray of sun floods the area. Sensing the strength of the sword of the Magus and the brilliance of the sun, the orc turns and runs. What? Okay. Okay. It rushes down. Oh, yeah, the Magus, it could produce this 10-foot radius of light. Damn. It rushes down the trail with you following close behind. It rushes down the trail with you. That's all about the emphasis right there. With you following close behind. As you round a bend in the trail, the orc disappears. The snowy trail stretches before you, but no footprints mark its surface. Ooh. You wonder if possibly orcs have been ambushing the parties who travel through these lonely mountain passes. You know that an orc would only be here for evil purposes. Hey, let's not be assuming shit. Let's not be judging here. I'm sure that amongst all those evil bastards, there are a couple of...
There's good orcs.
Nice, fancy men. Great gust of snow and freezing wind wail past you on a narrow ledge, tearing the questions about the orc from your mind. You must soon find shelter or perish. Now you don't even have the mule to eat or insult anymore. Closely examining the frozen ground, you see orc footprints leading straight into the side of the mountain. Looking carefully, you discover an opening hidden by overhanging ledges of snow and icicles. Squeezing between two sheets of ice, you enter an ice cave, sword at the ready for the orc. Question. You, this tiny little elf guy, you have to squeeze through two sheets of ice? How in the hell is the orc getting into this thing? Just a question. The sword of the Magus is silent. Looking down, you see many footprints on the frozen ground. There are footprints of elves, orcs, humans, animals, and some footprints you don't recognize. You creep slowly into the dark cave. Your elven sight shows you that nothing is in the cave. Slowly you step out of the darkened area. Your feet fly out from under you. You come down hard, landing flat on your back. That really hurts. There's something about landing on the ice that just really hurts. When you land, you begin to slide. Uh-oh! This was no small patch of ice. You travel faster and faster, plunging through a tunnel of ice, sloping downward toward the depths of a frozen hell. The walls blur. Slowly, the steep angle of the icy chute begins to even out. Damn it! What is this thing, man? This is like TSR here. I thought we were going to get into some shit. Using your feet to brake yourself, you slow to a stop. Scared and shaken, but unhurt. The sword of the Magus remains silent. Wherever you are, there are no enemies nearby. Holding the sword of the Magus before you, command it. Great sword of the Magus, light this place. He didn't have to do that before. Maybe it's because he was in danger. A clear golden light springs from the sword and fills the area. You are in a small room made out of ice. Behind you, the ice chute rises in shimmering spirals toward the roof far above. You see nothing in the room but the orc footprints leading to a curious door on the far wall. You approach the door slowly, holding the sword of the Magus before you. You have never before seen a door like this. It's made from ice, and sculpted on it is a great face. Frosty eyebrows jut over deeply set, closed eyes. An enormous beak-like nose extends over a bushy ice mustache and bristles with tiny icicles. The mouth is frozen in a frightening snarl. Stepping up to the door, you push at it with all your strength. It does not move. You back up, rush towards the door, and crash into it with your shoulder. Not the way you open a door. Any cop will tell you this. You always kick it right next to the knob. Always. Otherwise, you're not getting in. Period. SWAT rules. Your arm tingles with pain, but the door hasn't budged. If you cannot break down the door by force, maybe you can chop your way through with your axe. You take the axe and bash the door with a great blow. The axe slides in as easily as slicing warm butter. But instead of cutting through the door seals around the blade. With difficulty, you pull it free. Okay, this is good. I mean, I'm digging the story. There's some choices coming, I'm sure.
I was like, are you sure?
No, I'm digging the story a lot, though. I like that. This is no ordinary door. It must be enchanted. Still, besides, my voice has a nice husky timbre to it tonight because of this crud. It must be enchanted. Still, if the orc got through the door, so can you. You walk up to the door, raise your hand, and knock on its great domed forehead. The sound echoes in the small room. The door's eyes fly open and glare straight at you. The mouth opens with a... You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Labyrinth, sort of. The mouth opens with a breath and a north wind and asks, Who's there? Talking door. You stare at it with amazement. Well, you went knock knock and I said, who's there? Said the door. At least you can do is answer my question. Why are you staring at me? Don't you know it's not polite to stare? Dude, even the Labyrinth guy said that, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah. It was the door knocker.
Was it a door
right?
one? I haven't seen that movie
He said, it's not polite to stare. I think that was the door knocker.
Yeah,
Warden meets the worst class of beings down here. Well, don't waste my time on a dolt that doesn't even know its own name. The eyes blink shut and the door is silent once more. Cool, it shows the door. Closer, back, up. Andrew's hand gestures are like some kind of electrified octopus. I don't even know what the hell he's doing there. I'm like, left? He's like...
You've had it good the first time, and then... I do like how it actually focuses on the picture, like better
I guess that's helpful.
The camera does.
Oh, that's an axe. Okay, I didn't know what he was pointing at for a second. Your mouth hanging open in amazement, you stare at the door. Your hands hang limply at your sides. You are too astonished to speak. This door is the strangest thing you've ever encountered. If you want answers, you must talk to the door. Stepping forward boldly, and knock again at the frosty forehead. The door opens its eyes and asks again, who's there? This time you have an answer ready. An elf, you reply. An elf who? Asks the door. Elf Landon from the village of Aurelia. Please let me pass, Mr. Door. The door seems pleased with your answer and says, that's better. At least you know who you are this time. I'm afraid I can't let you pass. You see, it's my job to guard and guest intruders like you. This is an important place and I have an important post. I say you can't pass, so go away. Door, you say. Oh boy, the sass happening here. Door, you say. I intend to pass one way or the other. Just try it, says the door. If you want to attack the door with your axe, turn to page 89. If you want to light your torch and threaten to melt the door, turn to page 69. If you want to use your axe to cut footholds in the ice chute and return to the surface and go home, turn to page 37. I'm convinced that if you did that foothold thing and tried that, you would slide down that thing and be dead. There's no way that this thing is going to allow you to be that much of a coward.
Can you show him up on the camera?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, keep calling it a camera.
Phone.
Keep calling it a camera.
Phone.
Try to just church it up. Can they read that? Mm-hmm. Can they read?
I don't know about that, but...
Ooh. Damn. Yeah, as
we got burn that bitch.
Maybe you've noticed the way that I hold the book open. This is the way of a true lover of books.
So you don't damage the spine?
That's right. You do it in a curved, opening.
One to axe the door, one to burn it. Threaten to burn it.
I kind of... I don't know if force is going to work with this guy. Because attacking the door with your axe didn't do a damn thing. It's closed around it. I do agree that the torch would probably be a better option.
I'm going.
Although, you know what? It says attack for page 89 or threaten for 69. So I almost wonder if threatening might be the better thing, because you already tried the axe and he laughed at you. He tried to eat it. So, attacking, page 89. Threatening with the fire, 69. And turning tail and chopping all of these stupid hand and footholds into the chute. All I am kind of curious is if that's what happens. Turn to page 37. See, I think that we got to find a happy medium. The other ones have really lax stories and description. And they might have some stupid choices. And this one has incredibly awesome description and story, but it takes forever to get to the... And sometimes it'll be like, this peril's about to happen, and then it doesn't. Or it, it just kind of fades out of existence somehow.
So we got 2 for
I bet it's going to be a tiebreaker.
burning the fire, or threaten him, and then 1 for the axe.
Oh, so everybody's going for the fire too? Because that's where I'm going.
That's where, I mean, there's only... Yeah.
Hey, don't be ashamed. How many people we got watching?
2.
Just 2?
We had 5 at one point, but the choices didn't come, so... Well, I don't know how many people were actually... Like, there's 2 people actually watching, and then there's...
There are other ones that are probably just leaving it on for background noise. There's some people who do that. So, just for the sake of time, let's go to page 69.
Threaten him?
I ain't saying shit. This is the threatening with fire.
It's winning right now anyway.
Quickly, you light your torch. Fierce blue flames shoot up and water begins to drip from the ceiling. The air grows warmer. Holding your torch before you, you stride to the door. You wouldn't dare, shrieks the door. Want a bet? I'll melt you in a minute if you don't open up immediately, you shout. What a little bitch. You're going to drown too. This cave is melting. Water streams down the face of the door, making it appear to be crying. Its features begin to soften and melt. Its bushy eyebrows droop over angry eyes. A drip trembles from the tip of its nose. Wait a second here. He said he was going to threaten him. He's already melting him. The mustache hangs... Oh, I guess just being near it would do it.
Yeah.
The mustache hangs limply over the sagging mouth. The features start to blur. Water is now ankle deep in the small room, and the walls begin to sealing steam with mist. Help! Don't melt me. I'm really a good fellow. I'm only doing my job. If you stop right now, I'll let you in. Begs the door. Okay, door, I'll stop, but you better let me in and no tricks, you say. Get that torch away from me, and I'll let you in, says the door. Creaking on icy hinges, the door swings open, just wide enough for you to squeeze through. Cold air blasts you, blowing out your torch as you press through the opening. You are bathed in a cold, brilliant light that streams down from the crystal dome far above you. And there's you, melting Mr. Door. It's like, help me. Don't do it. I got a job. Unlike you, you rapscallion. A narrow ledge. Rapscallion, that's your word of the day. A narrow ledge branches to your left and right. Directly in front of you is a broad staircase, lightly dusted with snow. Okay, everybody, there's snow and ice everywhere. Are we clear on that? Do we have to keep saying all this crap? The staircase descends to a layer of clouds, and you cannot see where it leads. There can be no doubt about it. You are inside Shinafria, Mountain of Mirrors. Turning around, you discover that the door has another face on this side. Ha ha ha! Didn't know I was two-faced, did you? The door says smugly. Well, you got in. Let's see how much good it does you. The door starts to scream, Help, help, guards, intruder within the walls! Oh! Turnabout is flared play. You hear the thud of heavy footsteps to your left. A gruff voice yells, Simis! Rogor! If you choose to stand and fight the guards, turn to page 93. If you choose to run down the staircase into the cloud layer, turn to page 39. If you choose to run along the ledge to your right, ledge to my right. I can't remember that. Oh, there we go. A narrow ledge branches to your left and right. So, that's weird. It says, it doesn't say anything about going on the left. So, basically, if you're going to run along the ledge to the right, it's 91. If you want to run down the staircase into the cloud layer, where there could be more dangers, page 39. Or if you want to stand and fight, 93. I'm not exactly sure what it would benefit you to stand and fight. Because I would like to think that down the staircase is where you want to be. But, who knows? Who knows? Only Mr. Door. And that sucker has it in for you. I mean, you did get in there, but he told on your ass. I think it's funny that... I mean, it makes me wonder... Because it almost seems like it's like the mass of like tragedy and comedy, like the one on the outside's mean, on the one on the inside's smiling. But I'm not so sure the inside one isn't just smiling because he bested this little elfin bastard.
Can you show them to him? The choices.
Yeah. Even though you said they couldn't read.
No, like,
you said that.
I didn't
you said
say
that. Yes, you did.
I said,
oh,
I
hell
couldn't.
yeah, you did. Everybody heard you say it. Yeah, I got a bunch of illiterates watching my book-based podcast. Yeah, that's what's happening here.
No, I said I hope they can read it.
Jesus. Oh, yeah, there's no illusions there.
No, I think you can. Look.
I think so, too.
So we got 2 for 91.
Run along the... What? Oh, that's interesting. Who's saying that?
Paul, and then...
Paul is saying run along the ledge?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm totally flabbergasted by that. I thought he would be standing in a fight.
I'm going
Paul,
down the stairs.
Paul's got it up here, though. He's got it up here in spades. Don't let anyone tell you different. He knows that something's going on that ledge. Otherwise, they wouldn't even have mentioned it. And who's saying what now? What else?
Paul and Josh said go on the ledge.
Well. I could look ahead. I could be like Uatu and look ahead. But I won't. I'll go with whatever you guys decide. You know who Uatu
James
is?
just joined.
Awesome. You know who Uatu is? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Uatu is the Watcher.
In Marvel?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that, so... Didn't know his name.
Yeah, I would really love it if he came back. Because it was incredibly legit the way he looked in Guardians of the Galaxy. When
I thought Stan Lee was the Watcher.
Well, Stan Lee's sitting around with Uatu and stuff. But, like... They look perfect. Like, they didn't try to jazz them up. They even had, like, the collar and everything. Which, that was one thing I was definitely disappointed with Doctor Strange's collar. I want him to have the collar. But I want Vision to have the collar, too, and they're not giving him the collar. I just hope that they don't... Wait, I need to shut up. I need to shut up. I need to shut up right now. Wow. Shit. I almost said some stuff. That was close.
But I think we're going at 91.
All right. I have to say, the most unexpected choice. I am really proud. I'm really proud. It was totally unexpected. To win the battle, you must know how many enemies you face. You don't want to run down the icy staircase in the clouds that could hide unknown dangers. You decide to take the ledge to the right. You leave the shrieking door far behind you as you sprint along the ledge. Ahead of you is a dark corridor opening off the ledge. Beyond the corridor stand 2 orc guards with their backs to you. They are not yet aware of your presence. If you choose... Oh, we're getting into it now. If you choose to try to avoid the guards and slip into the corridor, how the hell are you going to manage that? Man, you'd have to be good.
Stealth checks.
You would have to, like, look like a piece of ice to do that. If you choose to try to avoid the guards and slip into the corridor, turn to page 96. If you want to try to trick the orc guards, doesn't say how, just trick them, turn to page 72. If you want to attack the guards while they're still unaware of you, turn to page 90. That's instantaneous death. That's death. You would have to have, I mean, that's sort of the Magus. Well, I guess it has light, right? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to show you what we got. Can you see?
Yeah, they can. Surprised you can actually read it, though.
Well, TSR, the creator of Endless Quest books, spent a lot of time thinking about which font they were going to use. And sometimes it actually says which font they use.
So we got 72 and Shank Them.
Is that Paul?
No, Josh said Shank Them, and Paul said 72.
Is Josh still here?
No, he left.
Let's see. I'm really interested. Oh, there's a really nice dedication here. So it's from the dedication from Rose Estes. For Daniel, Lydia, and Max, who are the reason for almost everything. But what's the almost everything mean, Rose? What could possibly not be the reason these kids are fulfilling? I mean, I guess they're not the reason why you gotta go to the bathroom. But maybe so. I don't know. Alright. If you want to try to avoid the guards and slip into the corridor, page 96. If you want to try to trick the guards, turn to page 72. If you want to attack the guards while they're still unaware of you and die pretty damn quickly, turn to page 90.
So we got 90 and 72. I'm going to go with trick the guards.
So you're basically making a three-way tie then?
No.
Yes.
72 is trick the guards.
Oh, no, that's... Yeah, you're right, sorry. Trick them with what?
It didn't say how.
Magic? Like, pick a card, any card! Next thing you know, there's just like a mirage.
You can just yell like, the door's saying stuff.
You're like, hey, orc brothers! Please come down here! Oh my god! I don't know. So...
That's... I guess 72 wins. No one else has commented unless you want to wait.
How are we doing on time?
We are at 11:06.
Holy cats.
Yeah, I don't know why that flipped around.
Does that mean, damn, is that an hour and a half? Probably not an hour and a half. Probably more like 40 minutes.
Yeah, because we had all that technical difficulties. So.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we're going to try to trick him. Who's page 90? Josh is page 90?
Yeah, Josh is the one who said shank him.
I feel guilty. He came all the way here for nothing.
All right, then let's go with his then. That he gets one mulligan for driving all the way out here. He gets one free one.
Yeah, let's go. Let's for fun. Pulling out the sword of the Magus. I almost said sword. Jesus. You rush towards the monsters. You succeed in slaying two of them. But unfortunately... Oh!
We're dead.
Come on! No, man, that's some... Okay. That's a little bit of some bullshit right here. It said 2 guards, okay? You walk up and you slay both guards. Unbelievable. Wait a second. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, shank him. Okay. But unfortunately, 2 others lurk nearby.
All those
they push you against the wall and take your... Oh! Take your weapons as they stuff you into a large, smelly leather sack. You hear one of them hiss evilly,
Should we take him to the mines? Or should we eat him for dinner?
Sitting all scrunched up in that smelly sack, you vow that you haven't come this far to be a slave in the monster's mine or tonight's main course. And it reminds you of being a child. A really young child. If you know what I mean. Slowly and carefully, you work your knife out of its secret compartment. Oh yeah, secret compartment in your shirt. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it hasn't been plunged into your chest due to all this bullshit. Cautiously, you start to make a small hole in the bottom of the bag. You work at the hole until it's big enough for your foot to go through, then your leg, then your whole body. Heart racing. You think of your loved ones in Aurelia. And taking a deep breath. You leap from the bag and sprint down the dark corridor. Okay, that was weird. I thought he was going to turn tail and run. You hear outraged shrieks of fury from your captors and the heavy thump of footsteps following you. Turn to page 75. You run down the dark corridor looking desperately for a hiding place. At last, you see something with your elven sight, a crack in the rock wall. A crack just wide enough for an elf to slide through, but not big enough for any monster to force its way through. The crack seems to extend forever. I'm not even going to do it. It's too easy. It must be a natural fissure formed when Shinafri was created. Squeezing your body sideways in the crack, you follow it for a long time. It slopes gently downward and gradually widens. You feel fresh, cold air on your face. Suddenly, you realize it's night, and you're outside Shinafri on the trail back to Aurelia. You begin the return to Aurelia.
Oh, we took tail and ran.
Once you are there, you will gather an army of elves. Together with your knowledge of the secrets of the mountain and the battle skills of the elven warriors, you will return through the secret passageway to defeat the evil in the Mountain of Mirrors some other time. You have reached the end of this adventure. Go back to the beginning and start another one. Well, Josh, I bet you feel really weird right now because you go for the gusto and you try to kill those bastards and you don't quite lose and you don't quite win. And you're not quite a coward because you're coming back. You're taking a breather because you just happen to find this fissure that just nicely deposits you right back home. So I'm saying trick the orc guard, 72. What are you thinking? Good?
Yeah.
All right. The corridor is dark and might be full of dangers. At least you know something about orcs, so you decide to try to trick them. You hide your backpack and sword under your cloak and rumple your hair, trying to look like a harmless messenger. That's like the equivalent of putting glasses on. Rushing up to the guards, you say, "Quick! Simus and Oh, I guess you did hear those names, though. Simus and Rogor are holding off an invasion back at the door. They sent me to get help." The two orc guards squint at you for a minute, their mean piggy eyes. Then they rush down the tunnel to help their friends. You wait until you're certain they're gone, then hurry on your way. They're dumb. They dumb. Cautiously, you enter the dark passage. Your elven sight shows that no one is near. Sword drawn and ready for battle, you creep down the corridor. You travel for 20 minutes and encounter nothing. Other dark and silent passages open off the main corridor. At last, the corridor opens into a large stone room. 20 small cell-like units have been carved into the damp walls. Each little cell contains a tattered blanket and a grimy bowl. The openings to the cells are heavily barred. There are small doors near the stone floor. You wonder what unlucky creatures live in the tiny cells. You hear sounds coming from the corridor, but you cannot make out what they are. If you choose to investigate the sounds in the cells, turn to page 95. If you choose to run away, turn to page 99.
Well, I'm obviously going to say investigate.
I think it's safe to say that everyone will, so I'm just going to go to 95. Because
no one likes to run away.
It getting to be late.
Oh, you have an hour.
Oh, shit. I'm not showing you that yet. Pressed against a frosty stone wall, you move slowly down the corridor, listening intently. You hear blows, cries, and the rattle of chains. A rough voice growls,
"Get up, lazy elf, or you'll be tonight's supper.
All you do is cry for food and blankets, but you won't work for them." You hear more blows and cries of pain. More chains rattle, and the footsteps draw closer. You edge forward until you see an ogre carrying a large sword and leading a ragged line of human, elf, and halfling prisoners. The dirty and exhausted prisoners are linked together by a chain. You watch and shudder. You want to help the poor creatures, but if you get killed trying to help the prisoners, you will fail the people of your village. You little bastard! You little bastard! It is a hard decision to make. No, it ain't! The ogre stands with his back to you. It screams at the pathetic line of prisoners. "Hurry up! I want dinner!" You back up and hide behind a boulder until the ogre and his prisoners pass. If you choose to run away down the other corridor, page 120, nobody's going to pick that. If you want to try to fool the ogre, it worked once, turn to page 23. If you choose to attack the ogre, which also worked, turn to page 79. I'm going to show you guys the illustration first. That's that crazy ogre. And then your choices. So it's actually a toss-up now because you were able to chop down those other orcs. I mean, what's the difference between an orc and an ogre? Which one's tougher? I mean,
About the same.
which one's smarter? I thought orcs were smarter than ogres.
I thought ogres were dumb.
Yeah.
They're like swamp people.
But this is unlike any ogre I've ever seen. Pointed ears and prognathous jaws. Prognathous is the second word of the day.
So what are the choices again?
The choices are, if you choose to run away down the other corridor, which you won't do, it's 129. If you want to try to fool the ogre, like you did before, go to page 23. I don't think this ogre is going to fall for it, though. It's just my own inkling. If you choose to attack the ogre, turn to page 79.
Paul said 79.
If you attack and win, you're going to have elves on your side, even though they're all weak and shit.
Josh said attack. I'm going to attack, too.
All right. Let's go for it. You command the Sword of the Magus to light the area. Clear golden light floods the grim corridor, blinding an ogre and a pathetic line of prisoners. Hey! Surprised, the ogre stumbles backward and fumblingly, I don't know about that, draws his own sword, an evil black blade, 4 feet long. Elf, you've met your match, my sword, made by evil wizard. Sword named Elf Killer. You do not stand a chance, snarls the ogre, swinging Elf Killer in a wide whistling arc. Your blade was made to throw light and have extra strength. Extra strength sword! Elf Killer has the opposite effect. It casts a black light and absorbs life and strength from anything in his path. As Elf Killer sweeps near you, you feel your strength ebb. Your sword's power suddenly fades, casting only a dull glimmer. That's weird. You would think that one would cancel out the other, that'd just be swords. It's weird that his could do that to you. As the ogre advances, swinging the deadly Elf Killer before you step back, the light from the sword of the Magus flickers and dies. You are terribly afraid. The ogre towers above you, crooning wickedly, "Good little Elfie!" Taking the sword of the Magus from your trembling fingers, it leads you to the column of chained prisoners. You struggle weakly against the ogre, but it easily takes all your weapons and supplies. You become one of the pathetic prisoners you hope to rescue. When the ogre returns Elf Killer to its sheath, your strength returns with a burst. You leap at the ogre only to be pulled up by the chain around your neck. The ogre laughs. "Settle down, save your strength. Need it here to stay alive. Get moving." Saying that, it gives you a well-placed kick that sends you sprawling towards the little stone cells you passed earlier. Now you're a prisoner. But you won't be a prisoner for long. When the ogre took your weapons, it didn't find your knife hidden in its secret pocket. You will work the knife out of its secret pocket and free yourself from the chains. You will still learn the secrets of Shinafri and defeat the evil living there. You promise yourself that. But, for now, you have reached the end of this adventure. Go back to the beginning and start again.
So you're supposed to just trick people the whole time?
It sounds to me like this is supposed to teach you that violence isn't the answer for everything. That's all I can think of. So...
I thought this was a D&D book. I thought you were just murdering hobos.
I wasn't going to mention that. Jesus. This is going to be worse than TJ now. They'll be sending us all kinds of things. So, let's see. It's 11:11. Should we try to fool the ogre?
That's up to you, man. You got a long drive.
Well, if you put it that way, we're going to page 23. I'm not giving up like a little bitch. Standing 9 feet tall, the ogre is very frightening. It looks as though it could tear you limb from limb with one hand. Which is pretty much impossible. Really. Unless you had your arm like stuck in something, you couldn't like... Nah, that's impossible.
Josh said do the opposite of what I choose.
You look at its mouth filled with ragged yellow teeth and remember that ogres consider elves a treat and love to eat them. A long chain dangles from one of his ogre's scaly hands and a huge sword is attached to its belt. You wonder if you can trick the ogre. You are desperately trying to think of a way to do so when you realize the ogre is nearly upon you. It's too late to run. You wonder if the same trick that fooled the two guards at the entrance will work on the ogre. Hiding your sword and backpack behind a rock, you step out of the shadows and say, "Quick! Simus and Rogor sent me from help. There's an invasion back at the door." The ogre stops short, looks closely at you and says,
So what? Who helps Mang when Mang have trouble? Let them help themselves.
Jeez. Slowly you start to back up. Well, if you don't want to help, that's okay. I'm sure everything will work out. I better get back. Thanks, Mr. Mang. While the ogre's squinty red eyes peer curiously at you from the distance, you take a few steps back.
Where you from?
It growls. Oh, I'm new here, sir. Just happened to be at the door. Simmons told me to go find help.
Don't look like a prisoner. Why you one free? Why you still have nice cloak?
The ogre snatches at your cloak, but you step back out of his reach. Hey, what's going on here? Oh,
Hey, what's going on here? You're no messenger. Mang knows.
what's up, Mang? Can't help. You try to edge away slowly. With a rasping clang, the ogre draws its sword and advances on you. Oh, shit, here we go again. You've never seen a blade like it before. Yes, you have. Solid black and 4 feet long. When the ogre draws the sword, a curious weakness comes over you. Your knees feel like water. You can't breathe. Your arms feel like they weigh a ton. You're too weak to draw your dagger.
Met your match, elf.
Heard this before.
My sword made by evil wizard. Sword named Elf Killer. You don't have a chance. Ha ha ha.
The ogre leaps forward, and the dreadful blade pierces your cloak. The cold metal slides along your side as you twist away. Your strength ebbs as though you have been fatally wounded. The floor rushes up to meet you and everything goes black. You awaken to find yourself slung over the ogre's shoulder. You are nearing the line of prisoners. Even though they've been left unguarded, they haven't moved. Institutionalized. Carefully, you inch your hand below the dagger strapped to your belt. Believing you are dead, the ogre has not bothered to search you for weapons. You'll pull your dagger out of its sheath and plunge it into the ogre's back. Thunk! The ogre drops you to the ground and staggers about, trying desperately to pull the blade from his back. It screams with pain and rage because it can't reach the blade. The corridor echoes with his inhuman shrieks. Ooh. There's Mang. What's up, Mang?
Kill, kill! You're going to be sorry, little elf. Slice you to little bitty bits.
The ogre stumbles towards you, his ugly face twisted with hatred. It swings his sword menacingly. His sword is cool looking. You watch in terror as Mang approaches, too terrified to move. You cover your eyes. There's the harsh sound of metal striking rock, a heavy thump, and then silence. Cautiously opening one eye, you spot the ogre lying on the ground staring at you. You open your other eye. The ogre is still lying on the ground. Okay. Camera 1, camera 2. Camera 1, camera 2. It has not moved. The ogre is dead. You have killed the ogre. Its dreadful sword, Elf Killer, lies broken and powerless on the ground beside it. Don't take it. You don't need it. All your strength returns in a rush as you leap to your feet. Excited, you run to the motionless prisoners. Hey, let's go! I killed the ogre! Follow me! I can get us out of here! The prisoners do not move. Thinking that they do not believe you, you rush back to the body of the ogre and search for the key to the chains. Look, I found the key! I'll have you free in no time! You dash about, freeing one prisoner after another. Still, there's only silence from them. They stare stupidly at the ground with their arms dangling loosely at their sides. When the chains fall from their necks, they begin walking slowly and silently down the dark corridor. Damn. Where are you going? Wait! Stop and talk to me! What's going on? You yell at them. The prisoners do not stop until they reach the tiny cells where they're patiently waiting to be let in. Listen, you're free. Let's get out of here, you plead. Not one prisoner turns. Not one prisoner speaks. What are you, a bunch of zombies? You say, grabbing the arm of one of the prisoners. Hey, Dick. They've been, in prison here. The arm feels like rubber. Cold and lifeless. Your excitement and hope die as you look at the silent line of prisoners. Realizing that only death will free them now, you back away down the corridor. You give the prisoners one last sad look back and see them standing patiently in front of themselves. You can do nothing more for them. Your village still depends on you and must continue. Wait a second here. You said that only death will free them. You're leaving them there to starve to death? If you choose to return to the ledge, run to the staircase. Oh my god. We're back at the ledge and the staircase again.
We already took the ledge, so.
Run to the staircase and take your chances. Turn to page 39. So I guess we never made it to the staircase.
We ran past it, I thought.
If you choose to investigate the corridor you passed earlier, we already been on the corridor.
I don't think so.
The corridor had the 2 orc guards.
I thought that's what the ledge had. What's the page number?
Yeah, it does. It says 129.
Oh.
I don't think we went there, though. No, that is different. So, if you choose to return to the ledge, run down the staircase and take your chances, turn to page 39. Have we been there?
I don't think
Nope.
we have.
We haven't been to either one of these. So, if you want to go down the staircase, 39. If you want to investigate the corridor, turn to 129.
Well, let's see what Josh says, and we'll do the opposite of that.
Yeah, we'll do what the opposite of Josh says.
Choose wisely.
Although that wasn't his fault.
No,
That wasn't his fault.
He was just saying that because he
It
got
was
two
screwed. We were screwed both ways on that one.
Can you show him the thing?
No, I can't show him shit. I showed him what's already. Okay.
Read your questions and make your choice.
He says staircase.
Josh says staircase?
Yeah, I also want the staircase.
You want the staircase too?
Yep.
What am I supposed to do?
We're gonna wait.
Out of drink.
So do we do the opposite of Josh, or just go to the...
Well,
I just want the staircase because we've already done the ledge thing. Like, not, I know it's different, but I'm just saying we already went over a ledge, so we haven't opened up the door.
Okay, let's go down the door, because I am getting kind of tired. You run down the staircase into the billowing clouds. The clouds protect you from being seen. It will be easy to fall over the icy ledge, so you know you must be careful.
Mary said stairs too, so we're good.
You hear sounds. The cloud muffles them, but you can make out 2 voices. Kvetch!
Kvetch, me hate this post.
Says a gruff old orc voice.
Be quiet, Kimmel. Go back to your talk show. Or wait. Be quiet, Kimmel. All you ever do is complain.
Snarls the second harsh voice. You stop and think. You have to make a decision. These are those damn guards! If you choose to try and talk your way past the guards, turn to page 73. If you choose to attack the guards, turn to page 41. If you choose to run away before you're discovered, go to page 91. I think we've been to 91, right?
I feel like we've been to 91.
Yes. 91 we've been to. 41.
I don't feel like we've been there.
73, talking past the guards. We haven't been there either. So basically, if you want to talk your way past the guards, 73. If you choose to attack the guards, 41.
Attacking hasn't worked out for us. But talking has worked out for us the most. Sadly.
Do we have any other voices of choice? Choice voice?
We're up to 4 people now, so...
Try to talk your way out of it, 73. If you want to attack the guards, 41. These are your choices. Make them wisely, as advised.
Mary said talk.
Mary said talk to him?
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
I'm waiting.
What do you say?
I say... the non
Stand by your woman.
Yeah, I say talk to. And then the non-talking route is what Josh said. And then Paul
So we do
said-
the opposite of what he says, so it's talking.
So...
Right? That's where it goes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 73.
And then Paul said talk as well.
Ah, there you go. You approach the 2 orc guards. They're armed with swords, daggers, and carry shields. They also look cold, bored, and unpleasant, even for orcs. Hi, guys, he said casually. Simus sent me to deliver a message. I need to go down the staircase.
Oh, yeah? here. What's the password?
Says one of the orcs. Password? Gee, what is the password? It was on the tip of my tongue, but I seem to have forgotten it. I mean, couldn't you let me pass this once without it? Simmons would be so angry if I don't deliver this message. You say. Both orcs laugh wickedly.
Too bad, Elfie,
Says the taller orc.
Tell you what. We'll help you because we like you. Wouldn't want Simmons to get angry with his nice little Elfie.
Nervously, you shift from foot to foot, waiting to see what the guard's going to do. Suddenly, the taller orc lunges at you and grabs you tightly around the neck. Grinning horribly, showing its ragged black teeth, it says,
"We can take you back to see Simmis. Then you can tell Simmis how you forgot the password. Simmis probably won't get too angry. We'll see if you're telling the truth, Elfie."
"Oh no! Please don't take me back to Simmis," you squeak. "I'm sure I'll remember the password in just a minute." The orcs ignore you. Glad for any excuse that will take them away from their boring post, they head up back to the staircase, dragging you by the scruff of your neck.
"Simmis,"
bellows the taller orc.
"Got a present for you."
Instantly, you are surrounded by grinning, piggy orc faces.
"Your messenger forgot the password,"
Says one of the orcs.
"Messenger?"
Simmis asks.
"I sent no messenger. Thanks for catching this intruder for us. I'll see you get extra food tonight."
Seizing a dagger from one of the guards, you stab Simmis in the heart. Damn. It falls dead at your feet with a terrible splat. Before the other guards can recover from the shock of seeing their leader slain by an elf, you are sprinting down the corridor like the wind. You run down the dark corridor looking desperately for a hiding place. At last you see something. Oh, for Christ's sake.
Is it a ledge and a door again?
A crack just wide enough for an elf to slide through. You feel the fresh, cold air on your face, and you slide down to Aurelia. You will return through the secret passageway once more to defeat the evil in the Mountain of Mirrors. You have reached the end of this adventure. Go back to the beginning.
That's sad.
That's sad.
I think that's the only one we haven't beat so far.
And I'm going to end it there. Yeah, this is, we haven't, wow.
I think we've done at least one.
And there's a lot more bullshit in this. I'm looking at a bunch of stuff I don't recognize. So, that one can be revisited. Although I probably need to find that. Oh. Sorry. There's something cute in there. Wow. Yeah, man. There's a lot more to this.
Mary said, "Well, shit."
Oh. I am gonna show you something that gets you tantalized for a possible next reading. Check this out. Oh yeah. So there's either some psychedelic fun to be had, or you're gonna be killing Smurfs. I'm not sure. But there you go. We're just going to leave it there because it is getting late, and I thank everybody for sticking around with us in this weird, truncated, abbreviated, amputated version of the Diabolical Index non-entry edition for April 7th, 2018. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night, possibly for Heckles and Horror. Is that still on for tomorrow?
I don't think so.
We got definitely check out the schedule. It's at the top of the page on the Magic Squirrel Network Facebook page. Definitely check us out all over the place.
My computer will be fixed Friday, so.
Apparently, Andrew's computer will be fixed Friday. Time will tell. But definitely check out the other shows. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the schedule myself, but definitely check out the top of the Magic Squirrel page. It'll show the schedule. Hopefully, Van Damme as John Claude will be coming back, and Neo Rage and Juice and all those guys.
I think John Claude Van Damme's only the first Saturday of every month.
The first Saturday? Damn. Well, it's a mystery to me as well. So, obviously I've been having trouble with my connectivity. So, definitely check out the Magic Squirrel Network page, and check out all the fine shows that will be broadcasting this week. And as always, I'm Corey Dawson from the Diabolical Index, and stay squirrely.
Stop it!